Heads up, don't blind you this. I'm going to ask you to consider sometime in the next week to do some hard work to be able to forgive the people that hurt you. Do you know that God gives us the ability to forgive because what forgiveness does is it uncouples us from the people that hurt us? You see, what happens to you if somebody else hurts you and you're still trying to hold them accountable and you're still full of anger and sometimes it's rage of that, other people around you get to experience the baseline that's so high that you explode on other people. Did you know that forgiveness is actually setting the prisoner free? And it's not the other person? It's you. You see, when you learn to forgive other people, what it does inside of you is uncouples you from the hurt that other people have caused you. Some of you had moms or dads or coaches or siblings or people outside of your family, and they did some horrible stuff to you, and I don't want to minimize that. And forgiveness doesn't mean that you say it's okay. You don't justify anybody else's bad behavior. It doesn't even mean you restore the relationship. But what it does is you uncouple yourself from the hurt and the pain. And God wants you and me to forgive because it will release us from the misery. I grew up in a house where my mom was an alcoholic and my dad was a jerk. My dad had anger and intensity that was part of his life all the time. And at any moment, he could explode on any one of us 6 unexpected victims. But I'm not angry at my dad anymore. Why would you want to give somebody else that much power over your thoughts? Ann Lander said it so powerfully that when you don't forgive somebody, it's like drinking rat poison. And the person that you poison is yourself. Now, think about this. Do you know anybody that talks like this? You know what? I've got this inner reservoir of rage and bitterness. And because of that, I'm just a happy camper. I don't know anybody that's carrying bitterness and rage that's a happy person. You know, bitterness and resentment has the capacity and the ability to rob you of not only joy, but peace of mind and internal well-being. Let's just dream for a second, okay? What if you were able to get rid of the resentment, the bitterness, the hurt that you carry, and you could be free to be able to have internal peace inside? Would you do it? I know people that refuse to forgive no matter what because they want to be able to punish the other person. I brought an assignment for you. It's the last page, the last 2 pages. It's called the Process of Forgiving sheet. I'm going to walk you through it because it could be helpful to you and it could be exactly what you need. You see, what I want you to do, and some of you might need 5 or 6 sheets. Some of you might need 10 or 12 because you've got 5 or 6 or 10 or 12 or 20 people that have really hurt you deeply. Here's what I think happens to people. Is the reason that we don't forgive is because we say, I forgive you, and we pray it, but we don't even know what it is we're forgiving. I don't want you to miss this, and I hope that some of your hearts are open. But what I would suggest you do is you be specific and give as much detail as you can on the sheet, which is like 4 or 5 sentences at the most. But I want you to identify the person that hurt you and what they did to you, okay? We're going to walk through this in a couple minutes. The second thing is allow yourself to feel the pain. How did I feel when that happened? What were my emotions? Disappointment, hurt. Do I feel anger, resentment? Did it cause me to be lonely and depressed? I'm going to walk you through a little bit about how I forgave my mom in a few minutes. But determine, number 3, what the person that hurt you owes you. I'm going to give you some examples of that. You need to know exactly what you need to forgive. Whenever someone hurts you very deeply, a debt is created. Someone owes us something. When someone borrows money from us, they have created a debt and they now owe us something. And forgiveness, according to the Bible, means that we make a decision to cancel the debt. Whenever people owe us, whatever people owe us, we make the decision to cancel the debt. Here's a couple examples. When relationships fall apart, we may feel like the stability in our self-worth has been stolen. When we're let go from a job, our dreams can be taken away. Our financial security was taken. When there's a divorce that drives families apart and we feel like our ability to influence our children has been taken from us. When I think about my mom, I couldn't forgive my mom until I actually figured out what it was my mom owed me. And what I came to after doing some digging and some work was that what my mom did, because of her alcohol, took away my ability to just be a child and to just play. Because in our house, it was always stressful because we never knew what was going to go on with my mom's chaos. Okay? Could I just plead with a few of you that this is going to be really helpful for you? You see, we think if I forgive, then I won't be able to hold them accountable and they'll not ever know how bad they hurt me. But what I'm telling you, you are going to be free from them having so much space in your mind, from having so much control over what's going on inside of you. And if you don't let go of the hurt that other people did to you, if you don't let go of the evil that people inflicted upon you, you could very well let that evil develop and grow inside of you. You see, forgiveness is God's grace because He gives us the ability to release it and let it go. I'm going to slow down a little bit. Do you know what bitterness and resentment is? I said it a little bit ago, but I want to unpack it a little bit. Bitterness grows inside of you, and according to Hebrews, it becomes a root of bitterness that will rot you out from the inside. It is a vile poison that will make your entire world miserable. You don't have to carry it. Now, just think for a second. Imagine a world where there was no such thing as forgiveness. Imagine that you could never make mistakes everywhere you go. Oh, I don't know about you, but I am so glad that that's not how it is. Because God's greatest gift is the ability for us to forgive and release the hurt that other people put on us. The Bible tells us that we're supposed to treat other people the way God treated us. And aren't you glad that God forgave us? I'm so glad that I could get completely forgiven from all the stupid stuff I've done and said. There's a whole bunch of passages to read about why we should forgive. And some of you, just do me a favor and just read it and just let God's Spirit just read those passages and look at God's heart for forgiveness. We don't forgive people because they deserve it. They don't. We don't forgive people because they apologize perfectly. Some people aren't even around to apologize. We don't forgive people because they take full ownership. We forgive because it's God's way of turning us loose. And I want to help you that if you carry bitterness and resentment, it will get your baseline line so high that you will not be able to control your emotions. The best way to be able to control your emotions is not strategies, but it's to release all of the garbage that you carry. Decide to cancel the debt. And here's what happens when you give up the right to be repaid. I'm just going to describe it to you this way. Forgiveness may result in tender actions that fit the relationship. Forgiveness almost always brings a kind of peace that helps you go on with life. The offense is no longer front and center in your thoughts or your feelings. Your hostility and misery have made way for compassion. Let me read that again. Your hostility and misery have made way for compassion, kindness, and peace. Instead of dwelling on the injustice and the revenge which will make you miserable, you can move towards empathy, mercy, compassion, and joy. On the one hand, we bring to the surface feelings associated with the painful incident, while at the same time you're trying to experience new positive feelings that will help you move into a better future. When you decide to cancel the debt, that means you give up the right to be repaid. Do you know something that God promises? That He will be the one that makes sure that people get you. That God one day is going to make everything right, and nobody in this world is ever getting away with it. Because God of the universe knew exactly what happened, and He knew what they did, and they will one day be held accountable, so we don't have to. I think it's one of God's coolest gifts to give His children the ability to have peace of mind and freedom. And if you've forgiven people, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because that debt is released and the prisoner has the door opened, but the prisoner is you. So here's the first thing I want to start to say is that you've got to get your baseline down. In order for you to be able to manage your emotions, you've got to get your baseline down. And last time I gave you the assignment, and the assignment I gave you is to figure out what it is you really value and who the person that God made you to become. Because if you don't know who God has made you to value, how can you live out your values in the heat of the moment? You can't. You see, you have to know who you are and who God made you to be before you can live it out in real time. I want to encourage you that you can do it. It's going to take time. You can ask my wife, she's right here. She'd be the first to attest that in our early marriage, I was an idiot. I used to defend myself as if my life was at stake, and I would argue with my wife, and I would criticize her, and I would point out everything that was wrong with her, and I would even yell and act stupid. Sorry, hon. But I don't have to do that anymore. It's good to be old. It's also good to be free. It's actually good to, when somebody's upset with you, and you can listen to them with compassion and understanding instead of having to respond with anger and frustration. So, some of you, I guess, are a little bit like me. And so I want to kind of point out to you what to do in the heat of the moment. Do you see the page that says choose high road behavior? Do you know why this chart exists? Because there was a dummy that didn't know what to do with his emotions and what was I needed to change my behavior in. So I had to actually write it down so I could learn it. I'm so glad I was humble enough to admit that I was an idiot. But I'm going to walk you through this, okay? There are 7 high road behaviors that'll make things better. But I'm going to show you the low road behaviors first, okay? Anytime that you're overwhelmed emotionally and you decide to blame the other person, you accuse them of everything that they're doing wrong and you try to pin the blame on them. That doesn't actually make anything better. So what you can learn how to do in the moment is take responsibility for your own actions. I'm going to spend one more time in the second one. Has anybody in the moment ever felt like somebody had got you so angry that you loved, that you was so overwhelming and so powerful, it felt like that you had no other choice but you had to do it? And then as soon as you, and some of us here have our harsh things said. Anytime you want to cause pain, if you feel like you want to hurt somebody or do something or say something mean, isn't it interesting? The Bible said, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only what is helpful for building others up so that it may benefit those that listen. Is it possible for us to live like that? Yes. But first of all, we have to admit that what we're doing is not right. You see, if you're full of bitterness and resentment like this, you get to stand on your high horse and you say, I have a right to treat you badly. I have the right to treat you badly. No, you don't. And not only that, why would you want to act in a manner that the person that's going to destroy more than anyone else is you? Because when you unleash your negative emotions, the one that's going to feel the shame, the one that's going to carry the regret, the one that's going to feel awful is you. See, the more that you allow yourself to do it, the more shame you're going to carry and the more heartache that you're going to be filled with. And God doesn't want that for you. He wants you to be free of it. Taking the low road, this is kind of how I describe it. It's the easy path that we just act any way we feel. Taking the high road is kind of like going up a hill through a really tough terrain with no trail. Because it seems so unnatural and so difficult and so hard until you get used to actually doing it. And once you start doing it, you're never going to want to take the low road again. Like they want to pull away because you feel so rejected or so hurt that you just want to go and run and hide. You can learn how to take steps to move towards people. If you ever feel like you want to quit trying, give up because you're hopeless, do something small to improve the relationship. You ever feel like you want to criticize someone and point out to them all their flaws? Take some time to encourage and appreciate someone else. As 1 Peter chapter 3 says this, that whenever somebody insults you, and he's talking in context of husbands and wives at this particular passage, that we were called to return an insult with a blessing. And anyone who insults someone insulted them first is actually evil. Isn't that crazy? What I want to do is show you a path to freedom, one where you'll be able to experience the internal joy and satisfaction. If you ever want to get revenge, people, forgiveness doesn't mean it's okay or that it's right or that what they did wasn't wrong. It just releases you from the person that hurt you so bad. And if you ever want to silence somebody, take some time to understand them. It's going to take you a while to get to those points, but you can do it. Last time I said I would take a little bit more time on how it works for me. And I kind of want to sit down for this part. Can some of you see me? I'm short already, and then now I'm sitting down, so you can't hardly even see me at all. But whenever you start to try to manage your emotions, you have to pause. You have to slow down. You have to realize that if I get control of this, I'm going to destroy something that's very meaningful to me, or I'm going to hurt somebody that I really love. I'm going to be filled with all kinds of. So you got to pause. Then you have to, what am I feeling? People, they freak out when I talk about you have to feel your emotions, because you think that if you start to feel your emotions, it's going to get you so depressed that you won't be able to handle anything in life. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm just asking you that if you feel rejected, sit with that just a second. If you feel afraid, sit with that just a second. If you feel like something, feel it, because God gave us to be able to put us in touch with what we should do. Did you know if you don't ever feel your emotions, you won't be able to release them? Some of you are carrying so much hurt because you're terrified to feel the emotion. Once you feel the emotion, it puts you in touch with what to release it, and it gives you so much freedom.